What's up guys, Jun with the Sushi Man here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make some JFC. That's right, Japanese fried chicken, also known as tori no karaage. Juicy and tender chicken packed with savory umami deliciousness with a perfect crispy exterior. And I've tweaked and improved this recipe throughout the years, and I have to say, it's really simple and insanely good, especially when you combine it with my spicy mayo recipe, which is an absolute must. And don't forget that ice cold beer as well. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, before we begin, what exactly is karaage? Karaage itself actually refers to the deep frying method rather than fried chicken. And that's why technically we're making tori no karaage, where tori means bird, or chicken in this case. And you might have heard of another name, tatsutaage, which is a type of karaage, but the meat is seasoned prior to frying, and it also only uses potato starch when dredging the chicken. I know, confusing, right? Nowadays though, karaage has become such a widely known term and is loosely used to represent Japanese fried chicken of many different kinds. So for the sake of this video, and our brains, we'll just stick to that. Okay, moving on. Now for those that have been following my channel, first off, thank you. And you know I have a tools and supplies section where I go through each and individual tool that we'll be using. I think it's still important to have, but I'm going to simplify it a bit. I'll have a list of everything and also show the items on the screen, but I'll only go over the key tools that might be unique to what we're making, because I'm sure you all know what a measuring cup is and don't need me to remind you to have a clean kitchen towel. So with that said, here's the list of tools and supplies we'll be needing for today. And some key items here. One is this grater, which we'll be using to grate the ginger and garlic. This one works really nice and I got it off Amazon for like 20 bucks or so. It's fairly new, so I don't know the longevity of it, but so far it's working amazing. Now, you can also use pre-grated garlic and ginger, which makes things a lot easier. And in that case, obviously you don't need one of these. Next one I want to go over is a sieve. I pretty much use this for anything deep fried, and it's especially convenient when making karaage, because you want to take out all the chicken at once. You can also get a spider strainer, which does the same thing. And the last key tool is a deep fry thermometer, or in my case, this infrared one. I just point this at the oil, push the button, and it's simple as that. However, I could see the benefit of having an actual frying thermometer in the oil at all times, just so you can read it right there. Now, you can get by without these, and I'll show you how to check the temp without a thermometer later. But it's a very useful tool to have, especially if you fry things a lot or plan to. Alright, that's about it with the tools and supplies. Now let's get into our ingredients. First off, the chicken. I like to use skin-on chicken thighs, but you can also use skinless thigh meat if you prefer. Having the skin on gives it a little more crisp while keeping the meat inside juicier. Now, I don't really recommend using breast meat, it just doesn't give it that nice juicy texture that we all love about karaage. But of course, it's up to your personal preference. And we're going to be using 2 thighs, which is roughly about a pound or so. Next, we have our marinade ingredients. The first one is 1 tablespoon of sake. And then we have 1 tablespoon of shoyu, which is Japanese soy sauce. And then 1 teaspoon of mirin, which is Japanese sweet rice wine. And then 1 teaspoon also of sesame oil. And we'll also have some fresh ginger, which we'll be grating, and we only need about an inch of it, which equates to about 1 teaspoon. And then 2 cloves of garlic, same thing, we'll grate this and it'll be about 1 teaspoon. And then some salt and pepper. Now for frying, we're going to need 1 large egg. And this is called katakuriko, which is potato starch. You can also use cornstarch, but potato starch does give you a better result. And we'll need about 2 tablespoons to mix in our chicken, and then another 2 to 3 tablespoons to dredge the chicken right before we fry them. We also need some flour, and this is just all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of it. And then of course the oil to fry it in. I just use plain vegetable oil, and you'll want at least a couple inches of depth, preferably more if you can. As for sides, I usually like to add some lettuce, a couple slices of lemon, and then of course that spicy mayo we were talking about. It goes so well with it. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Check out the video with the link over here. You can also do some regular Japanese mayo and sprinkle some shichimi togarashi, which is a Japanese spice blend. You can probably find these at Asian markets, or as always, I'll have links to them below. Alright, now let's move on to making our marinade. So first we'll grab our bowl. And this is super easy, just add all the ingredients into here and mix it. So we have our sake, soy sauce, mirin, sesame oil. And now for the ginger, we're only going to use about an inch of this. And this is already peeled, which you can do with your knife, peeler, or spoon, whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm just going to grate this right on top of here because we want that juice in there as well. And then same thing with the garlic. And then now we just mix it up. And I forgot to list the whisk in the tool section, but a spoon or a fork can work as well. Alright, now on to cutting our chicken. First, let's take our chicken and we're going to cut out the bone. Not sure why it's so hard to find boneless thigh meat with the skin still on, here in the States at least. Anyways, to do this, we're going to locate the bone, which is right here. And then we'll first cut along the bone here using the tip of our knife. And you kind of want to apply gentle pressure against the bone as you go down. But make sure you don't cut all the way through the chicken. And then now we're going to rotate this and we'll do the same thing on the other side of the bone. Now you see how the bone is exposed. From here we're going to slide the tip of the knife again underneath the bone and then carefully cut away and out. And it helps to hold the bone here and kind of lift it up a little bit so that the meat drapes down. So we'll stick the knife in and then we slowly cut through to the other end. And you see now this half of the bone is cut out. Now from here, lay the chicken down and hold this bone up. And then use your knife to carve out the other end of the bone. Work slowly and be careful not to take off too much meat here. And there you go. Now you know how to debone a chicken thigh. Now we always want to check to see if there's any small bones or cartilage left. So just feel around and usually right here, this piece of cartilage is going to be left over. So we'll just carefully cut this one out. Alright, so from here we could take off any excess fat, but how much you take off is up to you. I usually just like to cut off the really apparent ones, and some parts of the skin if it has a lot of fat on it. Alright, now this chicken thigh is ready to go. On to the next. Okay, now we'll cut these down into roughly about 2-inch pieces. And they don't all have to be the perfectly same size or shape, just roughly a similar size so that they cook at the same rate. So roughly about that size. Alright, we're done cutting the chicken. Now let's start marinating it. So obviously the first thing we're going to do is add this to our marinade. And then from here we're going to add a little bit of salt. I don't know, maybe about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. And then sprinkle just a little bit of black pepper in there. Now we're going to give this a nice mix. And you want to keep mixing until there's no liquid anymore. Kind of hard to see, I know, but you see there's still some at the bottom there? You want to keep mixing it until that is all gone. Alright, you see how that's all gone now? That means the chicken has absorbed all that flavorful marinade. Okay, now we'll cover this with plastic and then we'll let it sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes to an hour. But one thing I recommend is to take it out of the fridge about 15 to 20 minutes before you're ready to start frying. This will get that chicken closer to room temp, which will help prevent undercooking. And while the chicken marinates, we'll start heating our oil over medium heat. And I also like to use this time to prep any sides that we may have, but that's totally up to you. There's nothing wrong with just eating karaage by itself. Alright, so the chicken's been marinating for about 30 minutes. Now let's prepare these bad boys for frying. So first we'll beat the egg. And I don't know if I'm just picky, but am I the only one that likes to take this white membrane or whatever this thing is out? Anyways, mix it till it's nice and smooth. And then we'll add it into our bowl. Now we use our hand to mix this in really well. Okay, once you get it all evenly mixed in like this, we'll start adding in the powders. So we add in 2 tablespoons of potato starch. Okay, and then this is our flour, 2 tablespoons as well. And now we're going to give this a good mix again. I know, a lot of mixing going on. Alright, got it all evenly coated and mixed in like this. And then the only thing we have to do now is dredge these in potato starch right before we fry them. But before that, let me explain about oil temperature because it is absolutely crucial here. Alright, so we're going to be doing a 2-fry method. So first we want to fry this in a lower heat at 320 degrees and then we'll take them out. Heat the oil up to 350 and then fry them again. So let's check the temperature. Okay, pretty good, right around 320, 322, which is very close. And at this point you want to turn down the heat to about medium-low so that it doesn't keep rising. And if you don't have a deep fry thermometer, you could check it a couple different ways. One, you could dip your chopsticks in there and see the bubbling that comes out from the tips. I know it's really tough through the camera, but at around 320 degrees you'll see some tiny little bubbles fizzing out. And then when the oil is hotter, there will be bigger, more rapid bubbles coming out of the chopsticks. But honestly, it's not the most reliable way. And what if you're not using chopsticks? Don't worry, I got you covered. You can also tear or cut off a tiny piece of chicken and drop it in. If the oil is too cold, it will just sink to the bottom and just sit there. Too hot, it won't even go down but just sizzle at the surface. For about 320 degrees, you want the piece to drop down and then sit at the bottom for about 8 to 10 seconds and then come back up. And make sure to use like a 1/2 inch piece to gauge it because the time it takes for it to come back up will depend on its size. So let me find a good example piece here. Okay, so this one is perfect. Now just coat it with the potato starch and then we'll drop it in. And then you see after about 8-10 seconds, you see how it comes back up? Now, if this all sounds too complicated for you, then just get a deep fry thermometer. Trust me, it makes things much more simple and foolproof. Alright, now we're going to dredge our chicken with the potato starch. And we're going to work in batches here, so we're just going to take half, dredge it, leave it off to the side, and then fry it in oil. Because we don't want the oil to drop down in temperature so much by putting all the chicken in there at once. And when we mix the chicken, sometimes the skin will be hanging off or maybe even come off. So try to kind of put it back in place before adding it to the starch. Okay, so now we'll lightly coat this. And make sure it's evenly coated all around, just like this. And then we'll put this off to the side here. And then we'll do the same thing for the rest. Alright, I think that's about half. So now we'll fry these and then come back for the rest later. Now we're going to be frying these for about 2 to 3 minutes, where it's about 80% cooked. So don't forget to have your timer ready. Alright, I'm going to check the temperature again. Okay, 321, that's close enough for me. And then now we'll gently drop these in here. Alright, so it's been about 2.5 to 3 minutes, so I'm going to take all these out. And look at that. It already looks good and it's not even finished. So now we'll do a quick cleaning of the oil. Alright, now we'll dredge the remaining chicken and then do the same thing. Alright, once we're done cleaning the oil, we're going to turn this up to about medium high and bring the temperature up to 350 degrees. Okay, the oils are at about 350 now, so we'll add in our chicken, but only for about 1 minute this time. Alright, and there it is. Look at that nice golden crispy outer skin. We'll just put this on our cooling rack now and then we'll fry the second batch. And there we go. Man, I can't wait to dig into these. Now let's go plate this. Alright, so we have our plate here with some lettuce and a couple slices of lemon. But before we put the chicken on, let me cut one here so you can hear that crispiness. Yeah, and so juicy too. Hard to show the juices coming out, but look at that. Alright, I'm getting really hungry, so let's do this. And then we're gonna squeeze some of that special spicy mayo here. And there you go. Juicy, tender, savory, umami-filled chicken with that perfectly crispy skin. You just can't beat freshly made Japanese chicken karaage. Speaking of which, I'm going to pour myself a beer and start eating. Now, I know this wasn't sushi, but if you guys enjoy how I teach and also like sushi, then be sure to check out my book, How to Make Sushi at Home, a fundamental guide for beginners and beyond. I have a ton of step-by-step tutorials that go over all different types of sushi and also other Japanese cooking fundamentals. I'll leave links below for those that are interested. Alright, good job guys. Now go enjoy your hard work before the chicken gets cold. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Arigatou gozaimasu. Itadakimasu. Oh yeah, so good. Goodbye.